Welcome, everyone, to War in the Soul City, episode 22. Last we left off, a couple of our coterie mates, Virgil and Dana, had set forth on their own to probe into the Anarch domain and see if they can't fish out someone of importance, someone they could get away with downing before, well, causing final death, as has been decreed by Prince Marius Calhoun of Jackson. They weren't lucky enough to collect Joseph, but they were lucky enough to collect the Nosferatu weasel of a bodyguard that he had brought with him. Perhaps Joseph knew that this would be collateral damage. Perhaps he didn't. There's no way to know, really. But Dana and Virgil have brought this individual to Elysium. Atlas stands guard over this incapacitated body. Dana and Virgil have found themselves a seat, just as their coterie mates, Malice and Rodney, show their face. Walking towards their coterie mates. The first to be let into the Elysium, as it seems the court as a whole has been called. So, the four of you and this incapacitated corpse and the keeper are the only members of the court present at this very moment. What do you do?
Alice will take the two guns that he got from the Dawn and the stakes that he has on him and make sure they are stowed out of Elysium, since no weapons are allowed.
The keeper would have confiscated those herself.
Virgil would probably just kind of be set on the floor next to Atlas, patting him absentmindedly, just looking around the room.
It's immaculate here. Perhaps one of the most beautiful things that you have seen in quite some time, Virgil, as you spent a week, maybe two, it's hard to know, at your embrace, and the better part of the last couple of years at your sire's side, and rarely does he come to Elysium just to, quote-unquote, hang out.
You said we're alone for now? How close is Anastasia to us?
She's manning the door, where she's kind of keeping a vigil for other kindred that might be coming down. She's kind of serving as the front desk in a way, as the in front of the elevator that comes down to this place.
So, if we're far enough away, Malice is going to whisper so as to not be overheard, telling Dana and Rodney what he found with the rental company that he was checking out. The two that he was checking out, the one closest to the river was a bust, but the second one he checked out seems to be an Anarch-owned and run establishment, giving them access to vehicles where they can hide their movements in and out of the city, in and out of the domains.
And so, Virgil and Data, you are privy to this information that Malice has shared, and Rodney is as well. That Malice has made some very, very astute discoveries about the rental companies.
All right. So run this by me one more time. Sorry.
Wasn't able to check out all of the rental companies in the Flowwood domain before I was called to Elysium. The one closest to our domain was a bust. The second one I checked out, and Malice will share the location, seems to be Anarch-run owned establishment, allowing them access to vehicles where they can get in and out, not only regular sedans and trucks, but box trucks as well.
Oh, that's just fantastic.
Moving vans, U-Hauls, that sort of thing.
Yeah. This entire time, Dana is currently on that couch. She's no longer flopped. She's kind of drawn back like the drama couch at this point, as she's just kind of laying upon it.
Rough night?
Let me double check something here.
You could say that.
Well, something to it. Almost had my head near taken clean off about an hour and a half ago. That was a fun experience.
Rising, y'all both look worse than what the cat drug in.
Well,
Why do you both look like that? Why? How did you nearly have your head taken off? What am I missing here?
oh, don't worry. The person responsible for that is currently spending some time getting to know some of our grandest and most illustrious members of the Camarilla. It is a sight to behold, I have no doubt. I just would rather not be there for the worst.
I saw
Fair
you alone.
You can. She just kind of gestures over to her newfound. Well, she hesitates to use the word friend given the fact he's a Nosferatu, but she's not doing biting commentary when she gestures to him, which, for anybody who knows Dana, it's high praise indeed.
I assume he wasn't alone.
No, the dandy Mr. Fancy Pants got away.
By
I
that
don't
you
know
mean
who he
Joseph.
was.
One
I
and the
assume.
only.
Son of a bitch.
Has a tendency of throwing his own under the bus. Don't worry, that's a normal tactic amongst the Anox. She
It's
thinks
his
to
normal
herself for a
tactics
brief
as
moment.
is.
She thinks for herself to herself, as well as the Camarilla, but can't say that in Elysium now, can you? Fucking capes.
So what is the next move?
Right now, I think I end up deserving a little bit of R&R, but my job ain't done yet. So, in a minute, I'm gonna end up seeing on how that request of mine to speak to old Freaky, the Freddy that we ended up joining. See on what comes out.
Shortly after you start conversing, there are several members of the court that do make their way and start to fill this room, the once empty room with just you, the coterie, your prisoner, and the keeper. Slowly start funneling in are some of the members of the court.
Oh, goody. She tries to stand up straight. Well, sit up straight anyway, now that other members have joined. Certainly don't want to embarrass anybody.
Malice will stand next to Dana where she's on the couch.
There's an interesting face that just rolled on in.
You can continue. I'm just adding people as they come in.
Virgil's just going to be sitting there petting Atlas and just watching everyone. This is new to him.
With new people arriving, Malice has taken silence and is observing those as they enter, either single or in groups.
Rodney is just watching closely, rather quietly, himself.
Before too long, the room begins to fill. There are quite a number of people in front that have started to arrive. One can only hope that this isn't just some sort of disaster waiting to happen. But the prince, the seneschal, and the sheriff haven't arrived as of yet.
Well, doesn't that just make it all honky-dory? I love this. Take a gander and take note of, particularly, the fact that Kyle's here. That does make things interesting. And of course, I would hate to end up pretending to end up alienating the rest, but it doesn't help that when I end up taking a look and realize Sire's here as well. Goody. Just when I thought everything had ended up going smoothly. Well, what do you think? Should we make a moment to end up casting our net wide at this point and make the spectacle the audience deserves, or wait for the full authorities to arrive?
Mm.
Sure.
I vote we wait.
Sorry, what was that? Nah.
Said I vote we wait.
Whatever's possible, we just did. Yeah, so long as every one of us gets out of here and not getting eaten, would be a fantastic evening. Just a real cherry on top on that one.
You hear murmuring. No one really speaking aloud.
I'll keep an ear out. Thankfully, after last night, I recovered some real, or after last session, I recovered some willpower, so I'm not hindered. So I'll just keep an ear out in case somebody's saying something important. I will use heightened senses for it.
Who are you looking?
Oh, that's a +1.
Who are you looking to gauge specifically?
At this exact moment in time, well, there are a few. I'm mostly focused on the Nosferatu. After all, this is one of their own.
Kind of focusing in on the Nosferatu in the room. One of which is Fernando, who is taken aside next to Kyle. He seems somewhat unfazed. There's Agatha, the worm tongue. The old witch. She's more or less standing on her own and not really saying much of anything. The only two who might be even remotely close to saying anything would be Levi Wallace and Yanto Vaughn. They tend to... They're standing relatively close to one another. Just kind of onlooking. Levi kind of nudges over to Yanto and kind of looks at him in a side eye, not really trying to make it look like he's conversing with him, but you can obviously hear with your heightened senses. Who's that little fuck? Yanto shrugs.
Well, no friends in court, at least none of relation. That makes things a little easier.
Malice's attention seemed to be split between the Hakata and Mr. Jacques Collin de Plancy, as he was one of the most vocal against our coterie.
Mr. de Plancy is not standing with the other known Tremere.
Making a mental note, he seems to be on the outs with the rest of the Tremere.
Understandably so. Two of his childhood went Anarch. Or so the rumors say. Anyone else wanting to do anything?
Does my sire go to interact with me at all?
He seems to be. He's standing near Yanto, whom you know to be Rodney's sire. You suspect, and based on typical protocol, that if he wants you to come stand next to him, he will beckon you to do so.
Okay.
But he hasn't done so as of yet. Is there anything Rodney wishes to say or do?
Rodney kind of fidgets a little bit. He's very Hello, can you hear me?
Yep.
Rodney fidgets. He's very uncomfortable with this room full of people, and he kind of seems to slink back behind the rest of the coterie.
Hmm. After a sort of long pause, as you all are kind of gauging the room, eventually, Prince Calhoun, Seneschal Howell, and Sheriff Galvin all enter together.
Well, look at that. Such a lovely couple, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
Is Dana saying this out loud
Yep.
for the court to hear?
She does so as kind of a comment. But more importantly, that she's at least showing some support, like as if some interest. Mostly, she's doing it to end up doing the appeasement of the court. Because, honestly, almost everybody in this room can burn for all she cares. That's not why she's here. She's aware of it, and, well, she'll play the role.
Almost as if they're unfazed by the comment, the three make their way towards the usual sitting spots that they take for themselves. But they haven't really said much more than that, or done much more than that.
I think this is the point where we wait to be called upon. After all, don't want to end up showing ourselves to be petulant or impatient. She
But
looks to the others, trying to garner their own thoughts.
as to your coterie mates, or to...
Yep.
Dana would find Rodney's eyes directly on the sheriff. Does the sheriff show any signs of those injuries that Rodney saw last time?
Make me a wits awareness.
I just gotta bring up a sheet. Wits awareness, you said?
Mm-hmm. He doesn't look much different, but at the same time, it took a significant effort to even notice he had injuries in the first place.
So either he's hiding them very well or he's mended them.
Can't be 100% sure.
Yep.
But before you stands the court, and after a little bit of shuffling between some of the members of the court, the prince finally stands from his seat and looks to the unconscious Nosferatu with a dog sitting next to him and another Nosferatu sitting next to the dog, with the dig crew not very far away. What is this?
Anna stands, as the prince does, in order to end up showcasing a level of respect. Haha. Dearest Prince Marius Calhoun, allow me to present to you Freddy. Freddy is a Anarch member who has been captured, plucked straight out of the Flowwood itself. I thought it would be prevalent, especially given heinous accusations that ended up leaving his mouth. I should know, I was very up close with it. As well, brought in to meet Camarilla Justice. Very much with the aid of Virgil and his companion, Atlas. Both fighters who ended up braving themselves into the Flowwood itself, into the heart of Anarch Domain. Well, what used to be. And now, we wish to present you as a gift, specifically to dear Sheriff Galvin.
The sheriff, upon hearing his name, who had been maybe looking around the room, his gaze turns to you, Dana, and then to Freddy, and then back to you. His eyes, the only thing moving, his head barely moving at all.
Still figures that's how Galvin would be. She smiles and extends herself to the room as she steps a little bit forward, then taking hold of the spotlight. There were some concerns. Well, we thought it best to end up taking some time to not only put it to rest, but to offer an opportunity for answers. I'm sure we're all concerned about the various Anarch breaches, and can assure you it hasn't been through our line. In fact, we have been taking a point of aggression, following the fine example of Sheriff Galvin himself. And to celebrate that bravery, we end up offering to you one who is the muscle behind the Anarchs, one of only a handful left, as they've been losing them quite steadily. Worse still, I would be remiss to say that Freddy was willing to end up defending the life of one Joseph Gutenberg.
You hear murmurs around the room.
And was very quick to try and end up protecting him. In doing so, Gutenberg cast near dear Freddy's head life to the side, abandoning him on first notice, casting his comrades near to the side and allowing them to end up taking the fall. I do not find contempt within or towards Freddy. No. It's more pity. But my own personal judgment has no bearing in this court, nor should it. That decision firmly rests with those who lead, she gestures to the 3 that seat before. And so we come offering the Camarillas justice. Find how it near places itself upon dear Freddy, who, much like the warrior we expect of the Nosferatu, the shadowed protectors of our Camarilla, I wish to end up offering it specifically to the sheriff, as I believe they end up knowing what's best to be done with the circumstance. An Anarch's life placed in your hands, Sheriff. One who may have words you wish to hear. And I'm kind of trying to. Right now, I'm specifically bringing attention to Galvin, because I'm trying to emphasize to him that I know something about his current condition that doesn't seem to be public knowledge, namely on how grievously he was wounded.
That was shared with you?
Yes, it was. Remember, they were bragging about it.
Oh, right. That's right.
I'm trying to let him know that I know.
Okay.
I'm giving him a chance to save face.
I would like you to make me This is going to be a charisma subterfuge, not because you're lying, but you're trying to pass a covert message.
I will rouse the blood. And you said this is a charisma, right?
Charisma subterfuge, yep.
Okay. I hate to do this, but I gotta spend a willpower because I need him to know. Oh. Only 3. I got a 10 dice. Ouch.
You've always known Sheriff Galvin to be a fairly smart and resourceful man, so maybe he got it?
I trust that he did. I'm hoping that he did. As much as it would be fun to end up watching Sheriff Galvin try and end up saving face in court and try and cover up the embarrassment, that's not what I need right now. I need him muscle, and I need him on the streets, and I need him able to protect my sweet ass. So, because of that, hate to end up saying it, but I gotta get in good with the man I hooked a Molotov at not more than a few years ago.
Something that's you're hoping that he's a little more forgiving on these nights.
I doubt it, but at the very least, hopefully I can end up making it a point of mutual existence versus mutual self-destruction. We'll find out how smart he is.
You see that Sheriff Galvin's head turns to the Prince and Seneschal. If it would please my Prince and Seneschal, I will question this individual.
I could think of none better.
So be it, the Prince says. His life is yours, Mr. Galvin. Is there anything else the dig team would like to add?
At this exact moment, Mr. Gutenberg is wounded and will probably require some feeding. An opportunity for any of those who would be eyes open to take advantage of. After all, we all stand amongst the tower, and it's all about us working together. I share this information open and truly, in the hopes that should anything go awry, his beast getting the better of him, as I would expect of Anarch, well, then certainly that provides an opportunity for those with the mind to seize it. I might cast a side glance to Kale Calhoun and Anastasia. And she's not subtle about it.
That will be all then.
If I might request, I would like to be there with Sheriff Galvin, if only to see the fruits of the labor that we've here placed in, and to perhaps learn something of his own wisdom. After all, he's been at this for quite some time, and the young should learn from their elders. She has no doubt that this is probably stinging Austin something fierce, but he does hate it when she ends up playing the bootlick, the traditional Toreador.
Prince Calhoun's gaze goes back to Galvin for a moment. Should you wish it, I'll allow it. And Galvin just nods his head. And stands from his seat to collect the incapacitated Freddy.
We'll join him, waving a little toodles away from the nightmare squad that is my coterie. Two of them are absolutely hideous, and the other one has a smile of a piranha. But they do put in the work. And so far, they're the closest thing to friends I have in this entire city. How pitiful.
What do the other three do?
As Dana leaves, Rodney will give her a nod and tip his hat slightly.
As the
But he
sheriff,
won't move to follow.
You were going to say, Virgil?
I was gonna say, as the sheriff comes up, I would get Atlas to stand down and probably get up and go over to where the other members of the coterie are and just stand there waiting to see what to do. Virgil is very much doesn't know what to do at this point. He's a little out of his element because this is more people than he's usually used to seeing.
Rodney kind of gives Virgil a comforting pat on the back. Though whether it's actually comforting is another thing altogether.
Alex is still just scanning the room, watching everyone's reactions, gauging everyone's reactions.
You see
Interactions.
that there are a couple of groups that have started to form. Because it seems that Prince Calhoun has sat down and begun observing the room again. Not particularly dismissing anyone, but not commanding anyone to do anything else at the moment.
Malice will give Virgil a comforting pat on the shoulder. You did well, kid. From the looks of you and Dana, it was rough bit.
Yes, I have never been as hungry as I am right now. I'm just glad I was actually useful. I'm glad that I was able to save Dana.
Well, we shall have to take care of that hunger.
Virgil,
Yeah.
you start to get a little upset when Sheriff Galvin picks up Freddy, because for all you know, that's a meal that he might be walking away with. And
It's a shame.
that little voice in your mind is incredibly loud and incredibly impulsive. It's everything in your being not to just lunge at Freddy. Thankfully, you don't smell much in the way of Vitae, which may be a good thing.
Yes, I have to get out of here. I'm sorry.
Right. Well, let's go get you sorted then. Yes?
Yes.
Rodney will gesture for him to leave, assuming that they have been given leave to do so.
No one's been commanded to stay, no one's been commanded to leave, so
Malice is going to stay behind for a brief bit and make his way over to Don Mancini and Mercy.
we're going to pause there for a moment. We'll be right back, everybody, as we have a little bit more to add. Welcome back, everyone, to War in the Soul City, episode 22. Malice had pulled aside Don Mangini and Mercy to have a little bit of a conversation as they have appeared at this little impromptu Elysium, which seemed to garner quite a number of the court of the Camarilla. And so, we have our Hecata present. You stroll down the hard floors, the tile beneath your feet making noise under your boots as you walk, and it's clear that Mercy, at the very least, has caught on to you walking up.
Malice Deliri is keeping a wary eye on the rest of the court.
The rest of the court seems to be minding their own business, kind of taking stock. Maybe conversing about the what ifs and who dids and whys and every other question under the sun or moon. But none of them seem to pay you of any mind as you walk towards your kinsman of the Hecata.
Yeah. Good evening.
Ah, Malice. You hear Don Mangini say. He kind of gestures with a bit of a kind of a wide open kind of hug type stance.
Malice will approach for a hug.
And he'll give you a good hug and release you quickly.
And then Malice will hug Mercy. It's so good to see you.
No, don't need to get all wimpy-waist.
Call it what you want. I ain't seen you out of the hospital in weeks.
Well, I'm at least
it
presentable.
seems.
I'm not 100%, but I'm at least presentable.
That's what I mean. You're presentable for court. I wasn't expecting that for a while.
Well, thankfully things are okay. What about you? Dana talking about Joseph?
Yeah. Apparently she and a new friend of Rodney's had a run-in with him. That's where they found Freddie.
Yes, who is this Freddie? You hear the Don say, kind of stroking a little bit of his chin, kind of fiddling with that little bit of facial hair on him.
Do I know anything about this person other than what Dana or Virgil have said?
Make me an intelligence politics.
Lovely. Intelligence politics, you say?
Yes.
Okay. I don't want to lose my dice.
No, don't lose the dice.
Okay.
Your dice are scared. They're now running from you.
No, they're so excited they're jumping out of my hand. So 4, 5, 6 critical.
6 on a crit? It's a regular crit, not a messy crit. Goddamn.
Not messy. No. It was close on the blood die. That was an 8. If it had rolled over anymore, it'd be a 0.
Mm-hmm.
But no, it's a regular crit.
Yeah, something about Freddy. He's not a particularly well-known kindred. He's fairly young from what you know, but he's always had a little bit of a rebellious streak in him, even before he left the Camarilla. You suppose that it was Joseph and some of his others doing that may have convinced Freddy to leave the safety of the Nosferatu nests in the Warrens and join the Anarchs. It certainly worked on individuals like Urian Doyle and other young kindred that left the court at that time. They took a slew of them with them.
Most it's a relatively young book.
Within the last 10 years, yes. Younger than you, for sure.
For sure. He's a young buck. Joseph recruited from, well, among the rest of the clans when he decided to throw in with the Anarchs.
Yes, it seems.
From my understanding with Dana, he's a bit of a Nosferatu heavy. Or was.
Sense. Makes a great deal of sense indeed, because amongst the Anarchs, it is the Gangrel and the Bluthaw who are more in the way of fisticuffs, as it were.
That's why we rely on the Nosferatu now.
And if I recall correctly, during that time, they also took a lot of the Thin Bloods with them.
The Thin Bloods, the Khmers, a lot of young folks don't like the way this is going.
And you wonder why our prince is not granted the right of progeny to much of anyone in these last few decades. Only on special occasions.
Look at poor Mr. Colin de Plancy over there, isolated and alone, an island amongst other islands, but seems to be set adrift on his own. He's lost 2 of his own.
Yes, he has. Poor bastard.
One we know willingly. And I know for a fact Willa didn't go willingly. But rumors being what they are, I can't turn that tide. He's been a rough one. This has a specific question on Mercy's ambulance. I know she drove it out when she was captured.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't in the lot when I went back to the hospital. Does she remember the number of her ambulance?
If you're asking her that specifically, yeah, she remembers the number.
Yes. Yes. Mercy. What is the number of your ambulance?
Like are you talking about the VIN number? Or are you talking about the hospital specific kind of little short ID number?
ID number. VIN numbers and license plates can be changed. I'm sure that could have been painted over.
I don't know how
I don't
much
want-
it's gonna do you, but 2781. You think that's gonna help you?
I can't make any guarantees. Found a place where it seems that the Anarchs can basically come and go as they wish. Pretty much any vehicle they have available seems to be open to them. At least that's the assumption. Your ambulance to weigh the ways they can move in and out and about.
Driving an ambulance is different than driving a box truck, Malice.
It ain't much different.
They look different. It's more noticeable when an ambulance drops by. Box truck, like a moving truck, nobody gives a shit about that.
No, it may help me find where they have it stashed.
If you find it,
The dawn will be my first call.
I mean, I'm not too concerned about it. I'm concerned what they're doing with it. I ain't too concerned about having it back, though.
I understand.
I'm more concerned about you.
I'm as right as rain. Concerns and all aside, there's a pressure brewing from the flow wood and it's about to blow. I don't know how long we got before it finally reaches that peak, but I intend to see Joseph down before it does.
Good lad. We certainly need to get on top of all of that, and I'm sure that everybody here has a plethora of things that they must be getting onto. And we certainly need to get back soon. As
I do appreciate your gifts. They will be well put to use before this is over, I'm sure.
oh, I have no doubt. Of that, I have no doubt. Well, I'm sure you two have some catching up to do. I'm going to excuse myself and get back to my usual rounds.
And
You have a great
Yeah.
evening.
I will be in touch. Malice wants to see how well Mercy is holding up. It's been a while since he's seen her. Between the hug and everything, yeah, I'm thinking a medicine check.
Okay. Then, yeah, make me a medicine check.
Which one? Wits or intelligence?
Wits.
Okay. Wits. Okay. 1, 2. 4 successes.
She's not recovered much. You get the sense that she's essentially got a little bit of meat left, a little bit of meat on her now, but she's only about half formed. She's small and thin, but she seems about half her usual size right now. Presentable, but
Still seem like she has that hole
it's
where Malice ripped through her.
yeah, it's still there. It's a little less there, but it's still there.
How you holding up?
I'll be fine.
I don't think the time eventually will, but when you get a little better, you might want to take a trip to see Bass.
Oh, I plan on it. You know, that's it's kind of high on my priority list.
He ain't doing too well, though.
What's been going on?
It looks like they're getting divorced.
Really?
He doesn't know where Savannah's gonna go, but how long ago was it? 3 nights ago that Mala spent with Bass.
A couple, less than a week.
Yeah, Teresa's with them all. Savannah's, for the moment, staying with Bass. We don't. He's already filed for divorce.
I was afraid of that.
He's hitting the liquor harder than usual.
I'm taking it that you've been no help, huh?
Hey, I took him out bowling. I did what I could and drove him home. Can't very well have a prominent judge in this area getting pulled over for DWI, DUI.
Oh, it certainly cannot. Don't worry. I'm gonna get patched up a little bit more, and then I'm gonna go see him. That way you don't have to worry your pretty little head none.
I hear Dana tell it ain't that pretty.
Well, it ain't, but I was being nice.
Well, you are looking better than the last time I saw you. And, seeing how this is going this evening, I have some things I must do myself. Uh, if you have any more, recollections about the night of what happened to you, please.
I wish I had more to tell you, Alice. I wish I had more to tell you.
I wish you did too. I have my suspicions on who done it, and well, he's right below Joseph on my list.
It's like I can see where there's a little piece of thing missing, but I can't reach it. I can't access it. I don't know what's going on. It's just empty.
Somebody took it.
It's like a piece of the puzzle's missing, and I don't know where that piece of the puzzle is.
In this moment, Malice is going to attempt to force premonition to see if he can help Mercy find this piece of the puzzle.
Okay. You also know that the use of powers in Elysium is pretty
Forbidden.
strictly forbidden.
Yeah, he's trying to hide it.
Okay.
He's basically sitting down, looking at Mercy, looking into Mercy's eyes, holding her hands as a means of a conduit. He's
Mm-hmm.
trying to keep this.
Okay. Then I would like you to roll your premonition roll.
That is prospects. Resolve?
Yes.
ST,
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to roll a wits awareness, please.
Please do.
Five successes.
You said 5 successes
Yeah,
on premonition?
yeah.
Okay. I would like you to also make a composure subterfuge.
Composure subterfuge. Okay. Wow. Alrighty then. Ooh. 4. 5 critical.
I realize it was a thing. I'll have to try that again.
Wait, 6. Sorry.
It was 6 on the
Yeah.
composure subterfuge.
Yeah, 6 critical.
Malice, you reach into that which kind of buzzes around Mercy.
Yes.
You seek answers to that which you need to know. What is the question you're wanting to ask the void?
The piece that's missing that Mercy knows is there. She just doesn't have access to allow me to potentially have a look at what this is to see if I can help her.
You find yourself in front of a wall. Very solid wall. It's unlike much of anything that you've seen before. It's not ordinary brick. It's somehow different. You look around and try to see if you can see past the wall, if you can see over the wall, if you can see anywhere that there might be a gap. But there's not really a gap, and so what you do is you reach your hands out to this wall. And when you touch it, it's as if images flash in a jumble in front of you. Nothing is clear, nothing is solid, nothing, you can't reach it.
I can't push through it.
How many successes did you get on your premonition?
6.
So instead of looking at the wall, you look around the wall for clues.
Mm-hmm.
You see images, clear images, of Mercy getting out of her ambulance at your colleague's home, the apartment complex.
Right.
You see she's going through her tools. She pulls out a gun.
Right.
And leading up to that, there's a sudden jarring of Mercy, but then you run into the wall again. And when you try to push past the wall, the end of the wall that you see is Mercy staring back up at you from the chair. From the chair where she sat with the bomb in her guts.
Right.
The answer to this you can see distinctly that there is kindred involvement, that this is a power from a kindred of some sort. You're familiar with the different kinds of mind altering that Dominate can do.
Right.
So perhaps Dominate's the way to reverse it?
I don't have any skill in that. Success on my rouse, by the way, for the ammunition.
Cool beans.
It is well and truly walled off. Whatever that piece is, I can see everything around it. What is like a literal physical wall inside your mind has been placed around it, and I can't push through it, past it, climb over it, dig around it, or under it.
Like I said, piece of the puzzle's missing.
Tell the dawn when you get back, if any of our brethren have any skill with Dominate or know someone who does, it might be of use to you to help you find the missing pieces that you're looking for.
Dominate?
It appears that that's what was used to put this in place.
Nah, I ain't no slouch.
I know you ain't.
I wouldn't let nobody fuck with my mind like that.
You didn't have much choice. Malice will tell her everything he saw up to that and then after. And there's just no getting through. At least for me. But it all leads back to Joseph no matter what.
I think it's at this moment that Malice, you're going to hear a couple of footsteps, a set of footsteps approach.
And Malice will turn to face the steps.
And the person you see, Coffee, if you would be so kind.
It's Primogen Heifetz.
Good evening, Primogen.
Malice.
What can I do for you, sir?
You must forgive. I couldn't help but overhear your little conversation.
Sorry if we were being disruptive, Primogen. I didn't mean to be so loud.
And he raises a hand. No. Forgiveness is not necessary, for you have not erred. Instead, you have piqued curiosity, as it were.
Not so.
It would seem to me that someone has placed a... You described like there was a piece missing. Yes?
That's right. So?
Well. There is one gift among the plethora that finds itself home in our kind that could cause such a thing. And as Malice so aptly put, if the user of said gift was strong enough, you wouldn't have had a choice in the matter. For those who possess the gift of... Give me just a moment, because he wouldn't stop here, but I need to look up I actually need to look up a word. It did not have my PDF open. Where is it? There. Those who employ the Mentis Imperium. Suppose you of the younger blood would call it dominate. A master of such a gift need not ask. They simply take.
I don't exactly take kindly to people messing with my mind.
And rightly you should not. But I suppose the question that I then pose to you, Mercy, is what are you going to do about such things?
Well, I don't have any intentions of, letting them get away with it, sir. If that's what I take by your meaning.
Partially. I will give credit where credit is due. It is right of you to not take such slight lying down. However, my question is aimed more at one of self-improvement. Those of sufficient skill can force your way into their mind and ravage it as they please, violating you down to your very soul. They can look at whatever, they can take whatever memories they see fit, they can force you to do whatever they want. This has been undoubtedly proven. So I repeat my question. What are you going to do about it?
Who among that kind would have such power, sir?
He considers the question for a moment. I'm just going to roll a quick intelligence occult to see if he would know.
He's old enough to know.
He's old enough to know?
Yeah.
Okay. Commonly, those of clans Tremere, Malkavian, and Ventrue
Tremere,
make liberal
Malkavian adventure.
on a common level.
Potentially Joseph.
Maybe.
But
What
we
would I
don't
know
know.
about Joseph? Just as a question to the ST. Now that they're mentioning their name in front of me.
Primogen, you would know that Joseph Gutenberg was a fairly powerful, fairly old, and a fairly well respected Tremere until about 2008-ish in the city, when the sudden blood bonds of the Tremere had collapsed. The Chantry, would have split between those loyal to the Camarilla and those who wanted to seek their own destiny, as they would put it. And as such, it was near a clear split down the middle between the Tremere that stayed and the Tremere that left. He was one of them.
He left. And at the mention of Joseph, his eyes narrow a little. As someone who very strictly adheres and holds to the traditions of the Camarilla, traitors are something that he holds a very clear disdain for. You refer to the traitorous Tremere. Well, I would say that would be a very good first stop.
But Dana ran into Joseph last night, though, Malice, like she said, in front of the whole court or whatever. And she looks a little rough around the edges, if I'm gonna be honest.
She's very rough around the edges. She and Virgil, much like you, need some time.
I don't think we got a whole lot of time.
Oh no, we don't. But they need some time to heal and regroup. Get the strength back about them. My understanding, it was a close run thing, and they were lucky to get away with what they got away with.
They
Poor
got
Freddy
Freddy.
over there. Dana says he's quick to throw away his tools.
Then, if I might be frank with the both of you. He leans forward a little. traitors to the Camarilla are not tolerated. If you believe that he is the one who ingressed into your mind and erased himself from your memory, along with the recollection of what it is that he did to you, then you should see to it that he is brought low.
I'll also look at Primogen Heifetz and say, I can assure you he is the orchestration behind all of their attacks against us since the solstice ball.
And you have proof of this.
Other than his boasting to Dana and Virgil, I do not. But behind it all is one Joseph Gutenberg.
A shame that you do not, by way of the God of Jackson, do not deal in maybes. However, if you are able to bring me even a shred of evidence, for he has made his schism clear, then I will see what it is that I will be able to do to assist you in removing him. The boot fits. Find out if it is his.
Well, I'm on a Cinderella story. Gotcha.
Do that, and I'm sure the court will thank you for your service. Now, if that my interest is truly piqued and you have nothing else to share on the matter, it is time for me to return to my rounds.
You walked away. Malice is going to lean close to Mercy. How does one chase a whisper, a vision of concrete truth?
How does one what? Concrete proof?
How does one chase a whisper for concrete proof?
Oh, I suppose that's what they call a hunch, right?
My only proof comes from the visions. I guess you could call it a hunch, but
Well, if you got a hunch, then you follow it until it...
Mercy knows about Malice's visions, his ability to see into the other side. He's kind of had it their whole life.
Mhm.
She knows he's never wrong with these things. But how does one chase a whisper to turn it into concrete proof?
Well, you
And
know,
as he said,
you know you got a hunch. Now you just wait for it to be true.
Malice will lean close and give her a kiss on the cheek. Watch out for yourself.
Oh, trust me.
I've got...
I ain't got nobody else but you to look after.
Malice points to the man he doesn't quite recognize that came with her and Don Mangini. I'm sure he will see you safe.
Might still be wrong yet.
I have rounds to make myself. And Malice will make his way out of court, making sure to pick up his things before he leaves. And thank Anastasia.
Fair enough.
I will just point out, Malice, that as you leave, you will be able to feel a set of eyes on you. Not following just a set of eyes on you as you leave. But once you cross the threshold of the room, as soon as you do, those eyes seem to disappear from your back.
Malice will make a note of it, and assuming that it's Primogen Heifetz.
We're going to switch gears. And we're going to follow Virgil and Rodney as they come to a place in their domain in which Virgil has a desire to feed. So, Virgil, how do you intend to go about this?
Probably the usual way. Look for somewhere that all the lights are off. Fairly nice place. Get my picks out and stealth in and break in. And try to find someone that's asleep.
Oh, does he feed the same way Rodney does?
Seems like it, Mr. Drummond. So, do you want to assist your good friend here?
Rodney will absolutely assist every step of the way.
So, you may do so at a +1, Virgil.
What is the roll for a Sandman?
That is a,
I do believe it is a
Stealth
health
break-in.
dexterity with break-in.
Yep, dexterity stealth with a break-in specialty if you have it. Ooh.
Oh shit.
There's no avoiding that messy crit, my friend.
No, there is not. Damn it.
That is
Am I going to be known as BFS for the entire rest of my career playing vampire?
Don't worry, you're
It's
not the only
Chronicle.
one.
not the only one.
Keeping in mind you do have somebody with you who can stop you from fucking up right now, so it's okay.
So, Rodney and Virgil.
Yes.
Virgil is able to deftly unlock this window. It slides open with hardly a sound. Everything about this is going exactly perfect. It's going as quietly and as succinctly and smoothly as one possibly can to get into a home. But then Virgil sinks his teeth. And Virgil, you don't take this vessel very kindly like you normally would. Instead, you reach out for this person's head. You pull them close to you. You bite into their neck, sinking your fangs deeply into their throat. I need you to make a frenzy check.
All I gotta do is click frenzy, right?
Yep. This is going to be a difficulty 4.
Willpower, is that the willpower I have left that I put in there?
Yes, your current willpower.
Not the ones that I have superficial on.
Correct.
Okay, just making sure.
Yep.
Do I get a modifier because Rodney's there to help me?
I will
Rodney will try to help him.
I will allow you to choose. Because if you fail with Rodney's assistance, Rodney is not able to help you.
Oh, shit.
If you fail, Rodney still has the ability to intervene with his own rolls if you choose to do so without him.
We should hold off for the intervention.
Yeah, I'll just roll.
Okay. That is not enough, my friends. And your teeth meet each other through this person's neck. You take... This isn't what you want. You want blood. You don't want this chunk of flesh in your mouth, so you rip it off and spit it out and go fangs deep into this person's flesh again, spray going everywhere.
Oh, shit.
What do you do?
Rodney is seeing this go wrong. He's like, fuck. He's going to try to snap Virgil out of it. Do I know if there are any other people in this household?
That's going to be a higher low.
Let's go low.
Low clan low?
Yep.
You are lucky. This person is a solo household.
Well, that's something at least. Rodney is going to make an attempt to pull Virgil off. Yeah, that will be his first move, is to try and pull Virgil off.
Okay, then I would like you both to make strength brawl.
Because I know Virgil is better at this than Rodney is. Oh, fuck.
Have I slaked any hunger before I do this?
Nope.
I'm gonna willpower this. I'm gonna willpower 3 of those.
Okay. Rodney, by some stroke of luck, Virgil's grip on this person is not as tight as you thought it was going to be, and so you're able to wrestle him off of this person there. But the moment that you do see that, you see blood spraying everywhere in the room.
Shit.
You know for a fact that is artery. It doesn't pump that hard out of everything else. And there is a chunk of this person's throat missing, and you can see this person writhing on the ground. Now that the kiss is over, the pain and the agony is starting to set in, and they're starting to scream in that gargling of their own blood. They're choking on it.
God, he feels so bad for that. He's got no way to save them from this. So either he lets Virgil feed and they die, or he lets Virgil go hungry and they die anyway. So seeing this, he's just going to let Virgil go.
And Virgil, you sink your teeth in once more, drinking and drinking and drinking and lapping out of the wound, drinking until you have some semblance of your mind left as you're about halfway through, but do you stop now? You've slaked 2 hunger so far. Do you continue to the end?
Virgil will. Now that he's got his composure back, would probably think about this pragmatically, that there's no way that they can save this man. So he would probably slake as much hunger as he could, even though he regrets it.
Then you may reduce your hunger to 0. But you're going to take 3 stains.
Yep.
You allowed for yourself to get this hungry.
Oh, it was Gutenberg's fault. I was at an acceptable amount of hunger before I was about to feed. I will look up at Rodney and say, I don't know what happened, that whatever came over me, but
You
I
lost
know
control. That's what happened.
that I've never been as hungry as I've been in that moment. I don't know what that fancy pants did to me, but he will regret it.
Yes. Take some time to clean yourself up. I will try to clean this room up some. And we will make this girl disappear. Sorry, man, disappear.
I'll help Rodney clean up as much as I can, knowing crime scenes and the such.
Mm-hmm.
What people would look for. Then, if my clothes are too bloody,
You're practically sopping wet.
I'll take the clothes off and look in this man's closet and try to get something that would fit.
Rodney picks up the clothes that Virgil drops, kind of packing it up in a bundle. I'm assuming this man has some plastic bags in his kitchen that Rodney just kind of stuffs everything into.
Yep, easy enough to find.
He cleans the room up as best he can, knowing that they will probably, if police come looking, and they absolutely will come looking, they will be able to find blood spatter no matter what they do. But the best that they can do is hide the body somewhere where it will potentially be mauled by animals, so they cannot find the actual cause of death.
Okay. And where does Rodney suppose that would be? There's one place that comes to mind. There's alligators at the reservoir.
There is. There are also rats deep in the tunnels.
There's that too.
And his cats are always hungry.
But do you risk taking a mutilated body back to the hotel?
No. It's too dangerous to go into Anarch territory at this point. They can't risk losing somebody else.
And
So
taking a body
he-
down to the Warrens might actually cause some stink to happen as the body begins to decay and be eaten by the rats that you're so fond of, or your kin is so fond of. So it might be dangerous to leave it down there too.
He lets out a sigh.
I have an
There
idea,
is one
Rodney.
There is one surefire way that he can get rid of a body. And he already owes this person for when he fucked up.
Who do you call, Rodney?
Is there a payphone nearby?
I think I might have a cell phone.
A payphone is better, it's not trackable.
It would be a burner.
Payphones are a little hard to come by these nights, Rodney. So that's going to be a wits and streetwise.
Streetwise wits.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine Rodney's made a pretty good mental note of where all the payphones are.
It's about whether or not you know whether one's close.
Man, I wish I had some more willpower, but I'm rolling so low on that. Like, Rodney is legitimately looking exhausted mentally.
Do you know that there's one probably 4 blocks away at the nearest convenience store? But that's the nearest one.
Rodney, I have an idea.
What is your idea?
We can ransack the place a little bit and make it look like a burglary gone wrong, and then set the place on fire. Remnants will point to that as a story, and it'll destroy most of the evidence.
Fire draws attention.
Yes.
Fire draws a lot of attention.
I don't plan to be here when it's called, but I can get out of here unseen. Can
So
you?
can I. But I'm thinking more the condition of the body. Fire has to be hot enough to completely destroy the body, and house fires don't usually get that hot.
I don't need to destroy it completely, but it will char the flesh out and burn enough of it away that the remains will not be able to find cause of death very easily.
ST, what is the likelihood of the depth of the neck that he's taken out? What's the likelihood of that being picked up by the police?
I'm going to call for an intelligence. And I'm going to call for an intelligence investigation because you're trying to think like an investigator. And so I'm going to call for that to be the role. Based on how much flesh is missing, there's going to be an indent either way. So if the fire is able to burn away more of the flesh than the indent that's been left, maybe. But that doesn't account for whether or not teeth marks were left on the bones. That doesn't account for that. Really just accounts for the flesh that's missing. Either way, there's going to be an indent left, whether you burn it or not.
Rodney thinks for a second. He's going to grab a knife from the kitchen He's gonna pull his sleeve over his hand as he grabs his knife so that he doesn't leave any fingerprints. He's gonna make his way to the body.
You're a dead thing. You don't leave fingerprints.
Yeah, just to be sure though. He covers it with his jacket. And Virgil would be able to see as Rodney starts to carve into this poor person's flesh. He specifically carves out that area around where Virgil bit in, and then he does the same to the other side. And then he starts doing the same to various other parts of the body. Just kind of carving bits out, including organs. He's then going to put those... Yeah, I'm assuming there's a waste paper basket nearby.
Yep. Easy enough to find.
He puts those in the waste paper basket and sets it next to the bed. And then he sets about drawing with anything that is left of the body some occultish style symbols all over the walls in the blood splatter. And then he says, now you can set fire to it.
Alright. Virgil would, thinking practically, look around and see if this man has like a backpack of some kind.
What are you looking for in specific?
He's just going to get like a change of clothes, and maybe if this man had anything of value, throw it all in the backpack and then set fire to the place. Because he's used to picking up like one or two things and stealing from the whoever he feeds on as a way to support himself to go pawn it off.
Easy enough to do. Rodney, for the mutilation of this person after their death, I am going to ask that you take one stain.
Yeah, I was expecting that.
You may not have assisted in the murder. But
well, he kind of did because he let Virgil do it.
Yeah, he kind of did.
Yeah.
And you're also abetting in the cover-up, so...
So how many stains am I taking?
Just one.
Just one?
Just one.
Okay.
But, Virgil, how do you intend to set fire to things when your entire being is averse to the thing?
I will look and see if this man has a bar. Just a place where he, like a liquor cabinet, anything of the such.
High or low?
Let's go high this time.
There is a bottle of liquor. It's half gone.
Okay, that'll work for a little bit. Does he have a backyard? I'm assuming this is like a residential, just a typical, one of those copy paste houses.
This is a residential region around your near and around the Dolphin Hotel, where you and the coterie find haven most nights. And so it's a little nice. It's not posh by any means, but it's nice enough.
The thing I'm looking for is either in the garage or in the maybe back there might be a shed where they keep gas and a lawnmower or some kind like that.
There's
something
definitely a
where
lawnmower.
like get a glass or a bowl or whatever I can
Mm-hmm.
to dump it over and get the gas out of it to help spread around the body in the room and pour the liquor, if it's a significant enough proof, around the bed and pile up like the clothes and stuff, everything that is bloody
Mm-hmm.
there, and bring a trail out and then
There's
try to
not enough
light
to
it.
trail it out. No.
Okay, well then get ready to try to light this up and run away.
So do you have matches? Do you have a lighter? What are we talking about here?
Probably just like a lighter.
Okay.
Take a find a piece of paper, twist it up into like a torch, light it up to make it something I can throw onto the bed and run away.
Basically using the paper as a wick.
Okay.
Yeah.
In that case, I am going to ask you to make a fear frenzy to even be able to attempt this.
Okay.
You know what you're doing. Your beast knows what you're doing. Does it recoil at the very first flick of that lighter?
Five successes.
Man, you got balls of steel when it comes to fire. So you're... Oh boy, you do not like this anywhere close to your face. But you already have the tightened up piece of paper. You already have the lighter kind of in position to catch when it is that you flick it. You flick the lighter. The paper.
Before he even starts to light it, Rodney is already climbing out the window.
Yep, I figured as much.
Rodney is not having this shit.
Nope, Rodney is not getting caught like tissue paper. Virgil is a man of steel. The paper catches. You flick it where it needs to go because it's just heavy enough for you to flick it to where it needs to go. Ooh, you got so close to that fire nicking your finger. But thankfully it didn't. And the gasoline goes up in a whoosh. And you don't even think twice because you're out. Your balls of steel have run out.
Can I shut the door on the way out?
I think even with a 5, I don't think that... You have balls of steel. You are not Superman.
Okay. I wanted to try to contain the room so that it burned for longer and hotter, but it's okay.
But seeing that whoosh,
Yeah.
You were pushing your luck even just flicking the damn thing.
Rodney actually leaves the window open to let more air in, so that it does burn slightly hotter.
Fair enough. But the two of you are able to escape with your hides intact. The fire contained within the room. You don't see it anymore. It's not in your periphery or in your visuals anymore. So you have a clear mind about yourself at this moment. How long that lasts depends on how long it takes for that whole house to catch.
How are you feeling?
I feel terrible. I don't like taking a life when I don't have to.
Yes. None of us do. But what did you learn? That's what matters.
I've always had it drilled into me by my sire to never let myself get too hungry, and I can see why now. I don't know what that man did to me, but it made me hungrier than I've ever been. So hungry that I almost wanted to go after people in court. I've never felt that way before.
You will feel that many times. Many, many times throughout your existence. But it is how we handle ourselves when we get to that point that really matters. And how we handle ourselves to stop us from getting to that point. A man died tonight who did not have to die. But it is as it is. Understand what happened. Do you know why it is that I did what I did to the house, to the room?
To disguise the cause of death.
Do you know why?
Because we should not be found out. It'd be a breach of the masquerade. I know that there are things that are looking for us.
Things. Humans.
Yeah.
There have been many mistakes made throughout the history of our kind. Yes. We must be careful not to add on to those.
I feel almost bad that I was on such a high from what we accomplished and what we were able to do that I had to have something like this happen to knock me back down a peg and make me realize that things are not always what they seem. I'm going to try to never let this happen again, but given a long enough timeline, I'm afraid that it's going to again at some point.
Rodney kind of claps him on the back, gives him a grin, says, all a part of learning. All of it. So long as you learn.
Yes. I can only hope that when we talk to my sire, he'll let me off the leash a little bit more with you all. This has been an enjoyable experience working with you. I've seen so much more than I normally would have down in the Warrens.
I see a bright future, I think. But hopefully not too bright.
Hopefully.
You say as the back of the house starts to have flames licking up the back of it.
Rodney just goes, nope. And he's like, let's get out of here. And he actually grabs Virgil by the arm and starts pulling him to the nearest rabbit hole.
Oh, I thought we were already gone, like leaving, like we were talking as we were walking.
That's what I thought too, but hey.
Flavor text.
Rodney's
Flavor
just
text,
like, hell
we're
no.
fucking out.
Yep.
Cool guys, don't look at explosions.
Nope.
In the meantime, there is a little basement somewhere in the domain which Sheriff Galvin has taken Freddy and Dana. A little hidey hole where Sheriff Galvin has awakened this Nosferatu. And after a bit of thrashing and the frenzy subsiding, and questioning and the removal of limbs and other such nasty things, Dana. Sheriff Galvin now stands next to you, looking to you at the awake but now limbless Freddy. Is this what you wanted?
You and I both know that that's the furthest thing from the truth that's been spoken this whole night.
I was speaking specifically about you coming down here for questions. Not broadly.
There's a difference between want and need.
Yes,
If
there
I'm
is.
going to see this through, I'm going to see it through.
I think on that we're agreed.
There's a clear animosity between Dana and Sheriff Galvin. It's understandable. At the end of it, Galvin killed Belle. I don't think I'll ever forgive him for that.
Just being in the same room as him nearly puts you on a frenzy.
Yeah.
But you're far more composed than you used to be.
Oh. Selling bits of your soul helps. It also helps because, strange as it seems, I think the sheriff is the only one I can be honest with who knows the full score. I don't have to hide my contempt for the man. You know, funny thing, maybe a realization I'm only coming to now. You know, I actually kind of liked Freddy. He was... I still remember hanging out with him and Belle. He kind of took me aback. Took me a while to get used to his face, and I'm not going to claim I ever was used to it, but she liked him. I thought he was pretty cool people back then. And now, with Sheriff Galvin right here, I don't have to hide who and what I am. I can play it up for the court. I can play it up for the coterie. Hell, it's almost fun when my sire Austin is in the room just because it drives him nuts. But I'm a bad bitch, and I made sure of that. Now I'm looking at Freddy. And I can't help but remember all the good times. But he made his decision. Honestly, I might have even let him go if wasn't going to take out my throat. But he hates me now just as much as I hate this whole thing. So, Sheriff, do I get the leftovers? Or do you want that for yourself? After all, I'm hearing you're not tip-top, and I didn't think that wanted to get out. Hey, we're bragging about it. So that's why I thought you'd probably want to be the one to know. And this way, Freddy can end up saying all of it to your face. Mostly, I think it's just going to be funny. At the very least entertaining. And maybe a little insightful.
have questions. But I'll let you ask the first ones. Out of politeness.
I think this is the closest thing we've come to a working relationship, and so I'll just say thank you and move on. I kind of walk up and then crouch down, kind of sitting on my heels in front of Freddy. Hey, Fred.
What's up, Toots?
Well, you had me worried there when you were about to take my head off.
Now. Doesn't mean I have to hate you.
That means a lot, actually.
You know, nobody around the place does. So.
I doubt that. I'm pretty sure there's more than a few that want to end up clawing my eyes out and worse. Especially, we might remember Joe. Joe didn't seem to come in mind. I wanted to be civil. All I asked was get in the car.
Yeah, but, look what getting in the car got me, so. I don't think he was gonna bite.
You were.
Hell. Can you blame a guy?
Yeah, I kinda do.
Yeah. So we all know what this is about. What do you want?
Honestly? I had to think of a lot of terrible ways to kill a lot of people that I still have to force myself to not call friend. And I got a whole half of a city that wants me dead and the other half hates me. Kind of the rock and a hard place, and, well, I decided to roll the dice. Nice part about being around Sheriff Galvin right now is I can be honest with you. Because he hates my guts almost as much as the rest of you do.
Oh, come now. Sheriff, that's rude.
You know, I told him that, but that didn't stop him from butchering Belle.
No, it didn't.
And I tried. I really did. I tried so hard. But I'm not like you, Freddy. You know, there's a small part of me that kind of wishes you would have bit down. Put me out of my fucking misery. Because I hear her voice, I see her eyes. You know what the worst part about being a rose is? You know what the worst part is? You remember all the little details. Like that's what we do. We take in details. I remember just how sculpted your face is. You're probably the closest thing to symmetrical I've seen out of a Nosferatu. And you're probably the only Nosferatu I've ever been polite to. I mean, Belle kind of insisted, and, well, you know how roses can get. So I tried not to let that get the better of me.
Got some real lookers in your group now.
Yeah. I almost called one of them Fred by habit.
Oh, I'm touched.
I just wanted you to know that before we started. We had to draw the straws, and now we gotta play this out.
I didn't want to be rude. But, you should have just caved.
If I caved, I wouldn't have been the woman she loved.
Yeah, well. She deserved better than that.
She did. Okay, before I get all bleedy-eyed here, Joseph, where is he? He took something from the capes, and someone kind of pissed them off. The whole bragging about crippling the sheriff, I think he wants to end up having a few words with Joe about that. And Joe did kind of throw you under the bus for this. He had an opportunity not only to let it escalate, but he also kind of just left you behind.
Everybody makes sacrifices, Dana. You should know that more than anyone. It's what the cause is.
Sacrifice. Yeah.
It's about the greater good.
Greater good. I have seen that greater good.
And you liked it, didn't you? The freedom to be yourself. And not have to play up to the capes.
The freedom to be a self-righteous cunt.
As much as you damn well pleased. Even the freedom to love Bill. Because we all knew that you were more her type than anyone else.
We're asking about Joe right now.
Are we? Because I thought we were talking about you.
Please, I stopped being a part of that the moment I threw a Molotov.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't. You didn't know that Molotov was going to be hitting Sheriff Galvin. You thought that that was going after your sire. You and Bell planned it right in front of me. We were a team.
And that was the one night you weren't there.
And I still regret it.
You know, I blamed you for that. A lot of nights. A lot of nights. I blamed you. But I don't anymore. Joe, where is he?
He never says. He's either there one night or he's not.
There where?
He doesn't say anything.
Joseph Gutenberg. He doesn't stay in the same locations for long, but I know that you're too goddamn curious to not have figured out something. I also know that you have probably had a chance to end up meeting the wonderful Tyler. Did that make you feel really big, Freddy? You suddenly had a legend walking behind you and you can do anything? Superman of the sewers? Huh?
She's something, isn't she?
Dunno. What I met claimed. That's it. I didn't see nothing impressive. I saw a basic bitch who just had a bunch of doggies chasing her around because of a fucking name, a reputation. I don't know if she earned it or not. But she seems to got you guys all in a twist. She's definitely got you all ready to puff out your chest and blow up an Elysium. Killed a lot of people. Honestly, you kind of did me a favor when you removed the keeper, so big win for you. And, well, that meant I had to douse one of you in kerosene and light it. Tit for tat thing. And that's how this keeps going, is tit for tat. So, because of who Joseph took, somebody else has to get removed from the census.
We all knew the risks.
Bell was acceptable. I was acceptable. You were acceptable.
We all
I'll just
knew the risks.
meat on the pyre. Got it.
How fucking dare you?
You said it, not me. I never treated her like a disposable piece of meat. I never ended up putting ideas in her head and you want to push it to the point of the breaking. I never ended up wanting to get involved in this. You know what I wanted to do? I just wanted to sit at the armory with her. Watch a couple decades go by, see what came up. You know, we got a whole new world coming in, centuries we can end up watching, experience together. That's what I wanted. But no, I had to prove myself to her. Show her I was willing to go where the rest of you were.
She actually believed in this shit.
And I believed in her, and now she's dead. And that's acceptable losses. Right, Fred?
It's not
Acceptable fucking losses.
I would like you to make me a frenzy check. Difficulty 2.
This is gonna be difficult. Any modifiers because Galvin's here?
Yes. Make it a +1.
50-50. No. No, I lose it. I want him to hurt.
You start ripping and tearing into him. And he's lost it just the same. Because he feels like a defenseless animal in your grasp, and Sheriff Galvin forcibly pulls you away and essentially is shoving you up the stairs as you're kicking and screaming and gnashing and clawing at him. But with Freddy out of sight and the sheriff essentially pinning you down, your senses come back to you. Have you had enough? Have you learned anything?
But I don't have the clinical detachment you do. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. And I just threw under the bus one of the last pieces I had to give to you, your Camarilla. I have nothing left to sacrifice. So, be joyful, Sheriff Gallen. You took everything from Dana Rain. I offer to you him and what's left. You get to go ahead, tear him to pieces, threaten him. But you saw how he reacted. He doesn't like. She chokes on her own words, trying to say what she's about to say. You now know his weak spots. You know what upsets him. You know how to press him just a little bit more than you would have. I hope that at least makes you happy while you're still healing.
Go home. Get some rest. I don't need my people slacking off. And he lets you go and goes back down the stairs to do whatever it is that he was going to do.
You know, I think that the Camarilla's starting to get to me, because if I didn't know any better, that man just put me aside, trying to make sure that I didn't have to see what he's about to do. But then again, I forget it's Sheriff Galvin. That son of a bitch. I wearily take hold of my coat, start getting towards my vehicle. Check it for things. And no doubt Joe would love it if I just died in a fucking car bomb right now. You're down one Nosferatu. That wasn't the goodbye I wanted to give to Freaky Freddy, but at least we got to be honest with each other.
And with that, I think we will conclude this session for tonight. With Dana kind of looking up at the night sky, exhausted, searching for who even knows what. Leaning up against her car for a brief moment before getting in and calling it a night. Thank you to my players and to our lovely guest, Lethality Complex, for coming in and guest starring as Moses Highfitz, Primogen of the High Clans, for the singular episode that he's able to be here today.
I appear out of the shadows, and to the shadows I shall return.
Yes, yes. We appreciate that you were able to stop by and at least crash the party a little bit. I appreciate that very, very much. And
Man,
Go.
I just want to give Dana all the cuddles right now. At the risk of her ripping out my throat, I just want to give her a hug. Like, man, that girl.
Poor BB.
Just bag over the head, Dana. You can hear the whispers. You can hear the ghost of Flip being like, just bag over the head, Dana. Don't worry about it. Let him give you a hug. Just bag over the head. Don't look at it. It's all good.
Don't breathe through your nose. Don't look at it. Everything will be fine.
Everything's fine. I'm in
We're all
danger.
dead things. Who here breathes?
Good point.
Fair question.
Yep, fair question. You can avoid smelling things by not breathing.
And you're not even going to pass out if you don't.
Nope. Not as a kindred, anyway. So, but yeah, thank you guys so much for coming to play. And Monks, I hope we didn't ruin your voice any more than it
No.
already is.
No chance of that. It's already destroyed. It's fine.
Well, the way that it could get worse is if you have zero voice.
Yeah, that was me yesterday.
Not the +2 voice you have right now.
Yes. I at least have some voice.
It's nowhere near a 10, but it's a +2.
Man, this is a vast improvement from earlier in the week.
Mm-hmm.
Vast improvement.
What were you going to say, Lethality?
You gotta temper it to a +3.
It's valid. But yeah, we have some stains to resolve, my friends.
Oh, yeah.
No, we don't. We're fine.
Yes, you do.
Nothing really happened.
Have me lose some more humanity, please.
I mean, there's always that possibility, so roll your remorse, unless you have convictions that would help you in removing some of those stains.
Absolutely not. I do believe I'm rolling 4 for remorse.
Yes. So it'd be the... Are you humanity 5 or humanity 6?
5.
You're humanity 5. Hot damn. Yeah, that is 4 dice. You definitely are feeling it, Rodney. It stings how much...
It was a life that did not...
It was a life... It was a life that you did not have to lose. This, in practicality, could have been a return visit, but you had to make some kind of cover up.
Yes. Once you've been seen, that's it. And with the damage to his neck, there was no going back. He was going to die either way. But that does not make it any better. It just makes it that much worse. There was nothing he could have done to fix that.
Yeah, I don't know if my conviction was the law is absolute. Him knowing that he needs to feed and that he
the need to feed is not a law.
With him losing control and ripping the throat out, knowing that there's no way to save it, that he had to basically protect the masquerade by doing everything else.
The cover-up would have been covered by that, I think.
But not the murder itself.
But not the murder itself.
Okay.
Which is the cause of the 3 stains.
Yeah, it's okay. It was worth a shot. So I just click remorse, right?
Yep. And you're humanity 7?
Yeah.
Yep, so it's a 1 dice.
In fact, in terms of human law, he actually kind of broke it.
Yeah,
he murdered someone.
Yep, that's true. But I already caused you 3 stains. There we go. Virgil. It had to be done. You were far too hungry. Whatever Joseph Gutenberg did to you, this is on him. This was his fault. It's not
Suck
your
that,
fault.
Yes, it was. So I lose a humanity, correct?
You do, yes. So you're humanity 6 now. Well, that resolves stains. What about recovering willpower? Who did that?
Oh, good question.
I think I did. I did manage to end up showcasing he did know about the where Joe could be.
Mm-hmm.
Not where he is now, but where one of his haunts are. So I did get information from Freddy.
Yep.
I think I have forgotten to clear my desire at some point.
Oh,
So I'ma just say no.
okay.
I didn't get a chance to talk to my sire, so I couldn't accomplish mine yet.
Okay. Yeah, that was gonna have to happen after you fed, because otherwise he'd have been chastising you like mad. And you don't
Yes,
want to make Levi
we'll
angry. Levi angry
no,
is just not pretty.
no, and we won't discuss the fire or anything else.
Mm-mm.
Nope.
Yes,
Nope.
please, for Rodney's sake, do not say anything about the fire. Rodney does not want to deal with that sort of shit.
Right. Now, we can get on to experience. So, all of my players can take 1 away from today for showing up. Congratulations.
Even though I was late.
Yep. You still made it. I appreciate that you did.
Oh man, I was rushing so much this morning.
Oh no. Well, Black Wolf already has the poll going for who is the audience favorite, but amongst my cast members, we're going to decide who had the best scene, who had the best line, and who moved our plot the furthest. And lethality, I'm going to give you a say in this as a guest member of the cast today. You're usually part of the cast. You are still considered part of the cast, but you are filling a temporary role, so you still get to honor your seat as a cast by casting your vote.
Of course. I would be honored.
So, who moved our plot the furthest?
Dana.
Yeah, I want to say
probably
Dana.
Yeah.
I won't disagree with it then.
Who?
The only other person could have been Malice, but I think Dana got more information out of Freddy than the possible lead that Malice got.
But it's also set up other information for the Camarilla, but
Yeah.
whatever.
I agree though, Dana.
All right, Dana it is. Who had the best scene?
I'm kind of tossing up because I really loved the scene with Virgil and Rodney, but also that scene with Dana losing her shit was just. Mwah.
Yeah. It was. Both were pretty fun. Derek, as always, puts on a great performance.
That he does.
I loved that scene, but I'm gonna have to go with the scene with Virgil and Rodney.
Is it a 50-50 right now? Is lethality the deciding vote?
Seems like it.
Oh, you leave me as the arbiter of this little decision.
Enjoy that.
Let me see. I'm gonna give it to Rodney.
Oh.
Oh? Black Rodney.
I mean, yeah,
I
okay.
have to ask why.
because they're in that scene. I loved the scene with Dana, but I think as far as an individual scene goes, Dana did the most by moving the plot, and that scene was very poignant, and I said I loved it. But as far as a scene that didn't so much push the plot, but that was still good, that was the scene for tonight. And I feel like it's a mixture of sharing the love and enjoying it. Very, very much so.
Okay.
Rodney teaching Virgil.
Rodney trying to teach Virgil. It's the trying that matters there.
Trying. Possibly succeeding. We'll find out. Then it's a vote for Rodney to get that experience then.
Thank you.
Best line.
Oh, that's a difficult one.
One didn't really stand out tonight as like a quippy remark or something, but
It doesn't have to be a quippy remark. It could be something that was poignant. It could be something that was heartfelt. It could be for any reason. Which line got you the most? And it can come down to there just isn't one tonight.
Dana. You've taken everything of Dana Rain. Dana Rain, rather.
I could see it. We call it Dana points for a reason.
Yeah.
That line has so much impact. You have no idea.
It's weighty.
That's that was such a good line. I think that's kind of the biggest line for the night.
Also, Fricky, thank you so much for the compliment. I definitely have a great cast. This show would not be anything if not without them. They are the meat of this. I am but a storyteller. I only set the stage, much like Derek does in his games. I have learned from a very good storyteller. So,
Our storyteller does not do himself justice. He is fantastic. Do not believe his lies.
yes, I'm glad you can.
Go right ahead.
Yes, I it looks like the poll is closing up fairly soon, and it is a Dana sweep.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Hot damn. It was a Dana sweep for the viewers' experience today. Thank you guys so much for voting in that poll. And to lethality.
I had to set the point. I had to set the point somehow, and I was an NPC. I was a guest. I was an NPC.
Fair enough.
Therefore, not excluded.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Since your name was not on the board, but 109,000 channel points was contributed to that poll, and 117 votes was in there. So, Dana, you swept it. You swept it. You swept it hard.
Yep.
Wasn't even a question on the viewer's mind tonight. So, take pride in it.
Thank you all.
We're going to jump off, everybody, but we're going to go and do a raid. Let's find out who is online right now. Let's go and find out what Maddie is unpacking over at the Hero Zone, because he has a load of things that have come in for the store shipment. So we should all go and give him some love, because he's got capsules that I'm sure he's going to fill with some of that shit. And I don't know about any of you, but I know where I spend my money. So let's go give Maddie some love, give him a raid, and you know, show him some love for the D&D content, because he puts out a lot on there. So let's go, everybody. But we say goodnight to you guys. And is it Wednesday yet?
Ah,
Good night.
good evening.
Tick